Hello, welcome back to the Lake District National Park. We are back out for another hike today, and as you'll have seen from the beginning of the video, it has snowed. I am unbelievably excited right now. It's the first snow we've had this winter season. It's only the end of November, so we've lucked out with a real cold spell that's pushed down from the north. And yesterday into the night, we had probably about 8 to 10 hours of consistent snowfalls. And let's just take a minute to appreciate this view to my left. Look at that. So as you'll already know from the title, I'm heading up Skiddaw today. I decided to do that peak because I thought the snow line was going to be much higher, and Skiddaw is one of the highest peaks in the Lake District, so I thought, you know what, it's a good chance to get some snow. I know the route up here, I've been up here in the snow before. It is going to be sub-zero all day today. At the tops it is forecasted about -6, and with a wind chill of about -16, -17. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty wild day. It's going to be very cold up there. I've got all my layers and all my gear with me. Like I've been doing in a few of my videos recently, I will film a debrief at the end of this video going through all of the sort of safety precautions I've taken for today, the correct gear that I'm bringing out with me today. As you can see, I've got my walking axe with me. So we'll go through some of the safety aspects of going out in the hills in winter when it's snowy, because there are a lot more risks obviously, so we'll talk about all that later. But for now, I'm going to show you the incredible views of the Northern Fells today. And one of the other reasons why I chose Skiddaw is because, as you'll have seen before when I showed you the view across the valley, you get a stunning view looking over pretty much the whole of the national park down to the south. So it is a stunning mountain to get a view of the rest of the national park. And I've been up here in the snow before last year and it was awesome. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, look at that view, man. Oh, I'm so gassed about this. We've had the most awful autumn on record, I think, in the Lake District. I think we only had 60 hours of sunshine for the whole of October, so we are due some snowy, sunny mountain days. So yeah, super gassed. I'm going to do an out and back route. I'm going to go up the main sort of path right up to the summit, come back down a very similar way and head up to Latrig to finish. So Latrig is just to my right now, and I'm going to put the camera down now because we are going to start a very steep ascent up to Skiddaw now, and I'm going to put my micro spikes on so I've got some good traction, and we're going to have an epic day. I live for days like this in the Lake District. And to top things all off, we might bump into Hev on the way around because she's doing a run up there now with micro spikes on and everything as well. It's going to be an awesome day. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. Hope you enjoy it. Stick around at the end for the debrief and let's have it. Right, I've got a little bit of a relief from the wind. It has been absolutely battering me for the past half an hour, blowing an absolute hoolie, but it has been absolutely epic, unbelievably stunning. I can see snowy mountains as far as the eye can see. Incredible, unbelievably cold. They definitely got the weather forecast right. It's definitely minus double figures with that wind chill. Bitingly cold, but I'm feeling good. Got all my layers on. I bought a new pair of gloves the other day and they are absolutely incredible. Can't believe how warm they are considering how thin they are. It is really icy. I've had my micro spikes on all the way up and they've been working incredibly well. There has been some deeper patches of snow where it's drifted because the wind is so strong. It's not deep at all up here. You can probably see ahead of me in places like this where the snow has been dumped. It's probably up to your waist over there. Got up to Skiddaw Little Man, which is a Wainwright, and now we are on the final ascent up to the summit of Skiddaw. Awesome views looking all the way over to Blencathra, the other very big Wainwright in the Northern Fells, and you can see all the way over to the Central Fells and the Western Fells. You can see the Coldest Horseshoe and the Newlands round Dale Head, and I think I can see Hev running towards me now, which is a lovely surprise. Man, so I'm going to put the camera down because the wind is definitely going to pick up. I'm just in a little gully here, so I've got a bit of relief from the wind at the moment. But oh, what a day. Look at that view over there. Woohoo! Insane. Right, I'm going to put the camera down because I'm about to get battered by the wind again, and I can see a flying headster running towards me. Hey! descending back down into Keswick. We summited Skiddaw. That was seriously cold. It was definitely, the forecast was definitely right. It must have been about -15, -16. That's probably the coldest I've ever sort of felt it in the Lake District. But luckily, I was nice and toasty and warm. I've got 2 pairs of gloves on, about 4 layers. My balaclava on that my dad bought me for Christmas about 4 years ago, and that was an absolute lifesaver, I'm telling you. That was just awesome. The views up there were incredible, absolutely incredible. Some of the best I've had in the lakes. Heather myself came up here last time. It snowed back in January, I think, and it was a stunning day, but it was really cloudy and the sun wasn't out. So yeah, the views today were just spectacular. And I mean, even now, look at that, walking back down into the valley. Beautiful view of Derwent Water. You can see all of the fells over there. So you've got Grisdale, Eel Crag, Catbells, Dale Head, Newlands Round, Coldale Horseshoe, and then looking down the valley you can see all the Central Fells, and then you've got the Helvellyn Range here. Just unbelievable views. It's nice to finally be out of the wind. Wind has been coming from the north all week, hence why we've had this real cold winter blast. And part of the reason why I did actually choose Skiddaw was because I thought a lot of the ascents we would be sheltered by the wind. But as soon as we plateaued at the top of the footpath here, beneath Skiddaw Little Man, it really picked up. And yeah, it was just absolutely spattering me in the face. So yeah, that balaclava really did help me out. So the plan now, we're going to descend down into Keswick, and I will go via Latrigg on the way back. We'll go up to the top and get a beautiful view looking over Derwent Water, and then we'll be back down into Keswick because it is nearly 2 o'clock already and it goes dark at about 4 o'clock now, so it's really easy to get carried away in winter and then not realise what time it is, and you can get yourself in a bit of a sticky situation being out in the hills when the sun's set, because today has absolutely flown. I looked at my watch about 10 minutes ago thinking, oh, it must be about 12:30, and like I said, it's nearly 2 o'clock already, so the day has flown. But I'll catch up with you when I am back down in the valley, and then we'll have a little bit of a debrief. So I'm back home now, it's been a few days, and yeah, that was an epic day out in the lakes. Like I said in the video, I'm going to do a very quick debrief. It's something I'm trying to do for the more technical routes that I'm posting on YouTube, or for days like this where the weather conditions were a lot more dangerous and a lot more serious. So firstly, some of you may have noticed, I've probably been called out in the comment section for it, and rightly so, because my ice axe was not correctly attached to my rucksack. So if you're watching this video, that is not how you should attach an ice axe to your rucksack. The point of the ice axe is supposed to be securely attached kind of flush to the back of your rucksack, and mine was pointed out like that, which is pretty dangerous really, because if I had fallen, that point could have been wafting around and hit me in the back or something, or if I was in a group of people, it could have caught onto someone else. I rushed it in the morning when I was putting it onto my rucksack. I thought I had attached it, because most rucksacks have a technical little loop at the back which it hooks into, and I did do that, but I obviously didn't do it well enough and it just came out, and I just didn't notice for the whole day. So luckily I didn't fall or anything, and nothing bad happened. So apologies for showing the incorrect way of attaching an ice axe to your rucksack. And I guess that kind of takes us into the kit that I took on this day out. So you'll have seen I did have an ice axe. I didn't take it off my rucksack, which maybe it was a little bit overkill taking it up the routes that I decided to go up Skiddaw, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Usually if you are taking an ice axe out and you intend on using it, then you should really be carrying it. But for this route, it was very non-technical, in the areas where I thought I may have needed it, there wasn't as much snow as I thought there was going to be, and yeah, I felt perfectly safe without it. I'm glad I still took it, and for many routes in the Lake District in those sort of snow conditions, it would be absolutely coming out and being used. You'll have seen on my coldest horseshoe video that I did in the snow last year, I had it out for quite a lot of that because it was very much needed. And it's a great bit of equipment and an essential bit of equipment for a lot of walking in the Lake District in Scotland and Iwyd for national parks. The other piece of kit which absolutely was needed for this route was my micro crampons or my micro spikes. They were absolutely fantastic. There was a thin layer of ice on the main footpath for the whole route, and I saw people without micro crampons and they were really struggling, so they really saved my bacon. It was the perfect conditions for micro crampons. There was a thin layer of ice and they just, yeah, stuck in really nicely. Full-size crampons would have been overkill for this route. I think I saw one person with them on, and I think they might have taken a different route up to Skiddaw where it was a bit snowier. So I highly recommend, if you're wanting to get into sort of doing hiking in winter conditions, then getting some micro crampons is essential. Obviously my clothing in that video was really important. Like I said in the video, those are probably the coldest conditions I've ever been out in the lakes, purely because of the wind chill. Like I said, it was about -16, -17 according to the weather forecast, and when I got up to Skiddaw summit, wow, the wind hit me hard. It was actually a bit below Skiddaw summit. As I got up to about 700 meters, where the tourist path begins to plateau and then you get this sort of big expansive view of the Northern Fells, it hit me so hard, and whew, it was really cold. I've done a separate video on the layers that I wear for winter hiking, and I highly recommend going to watch that if you wanted to do some hiking in winter and you're wondering what sort of layers are appropriate. That day I had a base layer on, I had a mid-layer technical fleece, and then I ended up having my synthetic insulated jacket and my hard shell on. So I was on 4 layers that day, and I like to move quite fast when I'm out hiking, so it needs to be really cold for it to be sort of appropriate for me to be wearing 4 layers. And one thing which really saved me was my balaclava, because even with my hood fully up, the wind was still getting in and my head was just freezing, so my balaclava was fantastic. The one I've got has got like Primaloft insulated ears as well, which is fantastic. So balaclavas for, especially when it's really windy and snowy, absolutely awesome. Yeah, I won't talk too much more about the kit. I really recommend going and watching that video that I posted. As for the routes, like I said at the beginning of the video, I chose that route because Skiddaw is one of the highest summits in the lakes, and I wanted to give myself the best possibility to be up and high in the snow. And I essentially just did an out and back on the main footpath going up Skiddaw. I'll leave the route in the description. And it is a fairly non-technical route. There's some steep ascents, and for the snow conditions on that day, it was the perfect route to just get out in the snow and enjoy it. There are lots of other routes in the lakes which are going to be far more technical. Last year, Hev and myself did the Coldest Horseshoe, and we did some much more technical lines on that route, which you can see if you watch that video, and that requires a lot more experience, a lot more skill, whereas the route that I did on Skiddaw, although it still requires good experience hiking winter because it is a very high summit, it wasn't that technical for the conditions on that day. However, if you were to do a different route to what I did, there are some much more technical sections. So if you drop down towards Carlside, there are some really steep scree sections where the ice axe would have definitely come out, and there's a couple of little ridges around the Skiddaw area as well. So if you are planning on doing a different route around the Skiddaw area in winter conditions, don't expect it to be like the route that I did, because it can get a lot more technical in certain areas on Skiddaw. There are definitely better routes to do if you're wanting to try out sort of hiking in the snow. So in preparing for this route, one of the main things I was looking at was the weather forecast. I knew it was going to be very windy, and I knew it was coming from the north, which you may think, why did I go to the northern fells? Because surely they're going to get hit the hardest from the wind coming from the north. However, one of the reasons why I did choose Skiddaw is because of the technicality of it. I thought it was well within my range for those wind conditions, and I actually knew that a large majority of the ascent would be quite sheltered. And like I said, I got to 700 meters and that's when I felt the wind. Before then, it was actually fairly sheltered and I was quite comfortable and warm. I was only exposed to the wind really for an hour or two, so that's part of the reason why I chose that route. I used Met Office and MWiz. I mainly used Met Office because it's a bit more accurate and it does a bit more of a localised forecast. There is actually a Skiddaw summit mountain forecast, and I knew looking at the weather that it was pretty much going to be clear skies all day. And I knew the main risk was going to be the wind, which is something that is quite easily missed out when looking at the weather. With the wind forecast that I had for that day, I wanted to avoid any sort of ridge lines, any big exposed areas where there might be big drops either side of me, because that sort of wind can, take you off your feet. But yeah, that's why I chose Skiddaw, because I knew that route very well. I've done it before, and I knew that the technicality of it was well within my sort of experience and comfort range. The other thing that I was checking before I went out was the daylight hours, which sounds kind of crazy, but a big day out in the Lake District, you can be out for 6-7 hours, and at the moment it goes dark, I think at nearly 3:30 now. So we set off really nice and early on this day, gave ourselves plenty of time to get out. So it's really important when you're planning a big day out in the lakes in winter, just to not forget about the daylight hours, because I've done it before. I've been up on, last winter I was up on Crinkle Crags in Bow Fell, and it was a big cloud inversion day. The video is on my YouTube channel. It's one of the best days out I've ever had in the Lake District. But I ended up being on Bow Fell about half an hour before the sun was setting, and I was like, oh no. I had kind of got a bit carried away with the conditions and everything and the views, and I was just so in awe with it all that I'd kind of forgotten about the fact that I needed to get off this mountain pretty soon. Luckily, I had my head torch with me, because I always take my head torch and spare batteries with me out in winter. So I was okay, and I ended up getting down to the valley, and I only needed my head torch for like the last 20 minutes or so. Remember a head torch, give yourself lots of time to get out. Talking about head torch and equipment and everything, I have also done a video on what I take out with me on a day hike, so give that a watch if you're wondering what else I had in my rucksack, because on a day like that, it's really important to be taking all the right kit with you and taking all of the correct safety precautions. One thing I would say is getting into winter sort of hill walking, winter mountaineering is quite daunting, and I'm still very much learning the ropes, trying to get more experience. And one way that I would say is a really good way to kind of gain a load of experience is doing a winter mountaineering skills course or a winter hill walking skills course. You can do them in Scotland. I'm actually doing one in February with Adventure Peaks, which is the company I work for. And although I've gained an all right amount of experience the past few years, I just really, really want to hone in on my skills and become even more competent. So I'm doing an introduction to winter mountain skills, where it's a 5-day course. You get 5 days out in the mountains, practicing ice axe skills, crampon skills, doing some rope work as well, building sort of snow holes, just 5 days of learning everything about winter hill walking and winter mountaineering. So I'm really excited to do this course. Even though I feel like I've gained a decent amount of experience over the past few years, I still feel like I've got a lot to learn, a lot to improve on. And yeah, I do genuinely think if you're wanting to get into it, it's a really good way to just learn the ropes, because we don't actually get that much snow here in the Lake District. Scotland does get a bit more, but it's quite hard to get up there regularly for myself. So doing a crash course like this, you're going to learn so much in such a short space of time, and then you'll be able to take those skills out into the hills, and yeah, you're just going to keep yourself and others safer. Our mountain rescue teams will definitely be grateful for it as well. So yeah, if you are wanting to get into winter mountaineering, then it's a great way to do it. And once again, I have talked for way too long. I'm going to have to edit this down quite a bit. That was an awesome day. like I said, don't put your ice axe on your rucksack like I did. When I watched the footage back, I was like, oh, Alex, what are you doing? You look like an absolute idiot there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this doesn't come across as like really serious or patronising or anything. I just want to help you guys out. Filming content and filming videos out in winter conditions, I think it's really important to talk about the dangers and yeah, the seriousness of it all. I mean, that day, luckily, there wasn't actually as much snow as I thought there was going to be. If you go and watch my previous video, the Coldest horseshoe, I talk a little bit more about the more serious risks of being out in the snow in more technical conditions, talk about things like cornices and that sort of thing, and talking about ice axe arresting and yeah, all those sort of things. But luckily on this day, we didn't really have to face any of those challenges. If you've got any more sort of tips or useful information yourself, or you've got any opinions on anything I've said that you think people are going to benefit from, then please leave a comment in the description. We can all learn from it. So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was an unbelievable day. I really do love being out in the snow in the Lake District. It's yeah, one of my favorite things in the world. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for all the love and support. Thank you to anyone who signed up to my Patreon as well. It means the absolute world. Can't even describe how much that support means to me. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers.